Good play by Necas at his blue line. He and Svechnikov work with it. Right back for Necas. Sent it cross left, right up. They score! Brent Burns on a dynamite setup. Tic-tac tied in Raleigh. Trying to find Jarvis. He'll find Svechnikov, and he clicks one off the post. He had Vanacek beat, and it ricocheted off the post. In front. Vanacek got a piece. Celebrini tries to clear. Chatfield from distance. You know what he can do? He's put Carolina in the lead. 3-2 Carolina on Chatfield's third. What a time to visit, Trip.
It's a delightful time to go to Chatmandu.
It sure is a delightful time to go to Chatmandu. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Canes Corner podcast. I am Adam Gold. Thank you very much for hanging out. Appreciate your time as always, your interest in this. As always, we're here after every Hurricanes game. Well, that's actually a lie. We weren't here after the last two, and I'm sure you missed me. I missed you. Hurricanes did well in one of them, not so well in the other. And for about 40 minutes, it wasn't pretty here at Lenovo Center at the Big ThinkPad, but the Hurricanes righted the ship, played the third period that they needed to play. And that's the period they need to play all the time. It's not always going to look that way, but it was a dominant third period, and the Hurricanes pick up a 3-2 win. We are brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job with that. All right, shouts to all of you. Shouts to those of you in Australia, those of you in California. Wherever you are, I appreciate you here hanging out on the Canes Corner podcast. And if you are in Chatmandu and Chatman did, all three goals coming from Carolina's blue line, all three goals coming at 5-on-5. Something we have not seen a lot of over the course of the last few weeks. Hurricanes 5-on-5 game has suffered. It wasn't amazing tonight. It was great in the third period. That's how it's supposed to look. But for two periods, it was quite shaky. In fact, early in the period, I tweeted out once we got the podcast feeds set up. I usually do that either or maybe even before the game or even sometime in the second intermission. And I'm tweeting out the link both on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can follow me on Blue Sky at, I think I'm Adam Gold. Adam Gold on Blue Sky, at A Gold Fan on Twitter. So I'm tweeting it out, and I'm just like, man, this could be a pretty down podcast. And then Brent Burns scores the goal. Great plays by Svechnikov, Necas, Aho leading to the Burns goal. I don't think he got all of it either. He didn't need to because the net was empty. Just a dynamite pass from Aho, who I thought played a pretty good game today. I thought Carolina, nobody was good in the first two periods. Let's just flat out say nobody was good. Okay? Flat out, nobody. But I thought Aho, basically everybody was good in the third period. I gave my first star to Ripken the dog. A good opening faceoff. It was ceremonial, but still, I thought it was fair, and it's all you can ask is that the dog drops the puck fairly. All right, a lot to do here. Appreciate it, William. I missed you too. I thank you very much. Yes, from Jerry, the Sharks were impressive. They've got speed. They've obviously got a high level of skill. They've traded well. I certainly think that the most recent trade to get Georgiev from the Sharks for Mackenzie Blackwood, plus they get a draft pick, I think that will go a long way into helping San Jose regenerate. But you build around young talent. I think they've got a nice little team. They're certainly going to be pesky because they look, Ryan, Wysharski? I don't know how you say his name. Former assistant for the Charlotte Checkers when they won the Calder back in 2019. Was it the 18-19 season? He was the assistant to Mike Vellucci. We remember those names, right? They play a very similar style to the Hurricanes, and they have some guys with a high level of skill. And I think that's a team that's going to be reckoned with. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, maybe not even the year after, but down the road. I think you're going to see a lot of good things from that organization. All right, let's try to run through some things here that we can get to. And I'm going to answer Williams' question first, only because I think that for the most part, Hurricanes fans do they experience some anguish over the forward lines. Before we get to it, I'm not saying it's meaningless. I do think that we put too much emphasis on forward lines, and I'll explain why in a minute. Personally, I think Rod Brind'Amour hated the lines he put out tonight. I really do. I think he hated it. There's a reason why we have not seen Necas, Aho, and Jarvis at all this year. There's a reason. This is the first time they were on the ice together at 5-on-5. I don't think he liked Staal, Martinook, and Svechnikov. Also, first time they have been on the ice at 5-on-5. But coming off the game in the Island, where they played poorly, I think Rod was just like, everything that I think is going to work isn't working. Let's try stuff that I don't think is going to work, and we'll see if it doesn't work. And it didn't through 2 periods. And then, actually, it happened in the first period. The Jack Drury injury changed a lot of things. And there's something to be said for a little bit more regular work. Aho got better, took till the third period. Staal was good. I think Staal was probably the same. Staal and Martinook are probably the only 2 guys who all game long were pretty good. And Kotkaniemi played a very good third period. Very good. I don't know that anybody was good at all for the first 2. But I thought Kotkaniemi played a very good third period. And I'll explain one situation in a minute. But I thought that his physicality in front of the net, and I know that there's a lot of people who think that Kotkaniemi, not that he hung the moon. I'm not saying that. Nobody thinks that he's that good. But they see the physical tools. They know that he was drafted 3rd overall in the Rasmus Dahlin, Andrei Svechnikov, Kotkaniemi, Brady Tkachuk draft. They see that and they go, man, that guy should be better than he is. Why isn't he better than he is? And I think we saw 2 examples of what has been so frustrating for Rod Brind'Amour. In that, in the first period, the goal that tied it for San Jose, Macklin Celebrini skated right through the neutral zone. William Carrier was the first player to not give us, not try to take the body with Celebrini. I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass because I think he was already kind of past the play. But Jesperi Kotkaniemi, dude, you're like 6'3", 200. Put your shoulder in Celebrini's chest and knock him off the puck. But he reached out with a little stick play. And Celebrini is a dynamite skater. He just went right around him. And that, look, there were other mistakes beyond that. Gostisbehere backed off, didn't gap up, wasn't very aggressive. Pyotr Kochetkov has his stick like not doing anything, leaving the 5-hole wide open. Hey, look, put your stick along the ice. Don't get beat, an inch off the ground in between the pads. Use your stick. So there was a lot of mistakes made on that play. But it could have been avoided with better play in the neutral zone. And unfortunately, Kotkaniemi was part of that. But at the same time, here's a guy who played a really good third period, forced a penalty, but his physicality around the net, and this is what, when you are built the way he is, and I'm going to compare him to another player who never panned out, unfortunately, although he's still in the NHL. And I'm not saying that Kotkaniemi isn't going to pan out. I think at this point we kind of know what he is, but we'd like to see him maximize what he is. So he's a good skater, not a great skater. He's got a good shot, actually, I think, which he doesn't use enough. He's a big body who can play good defense. 50-50 in the faceoff circle. Nobody's going to be, you're not going to have like four guys who are in like 55% range. He's, basically, halfway. But he doesn't play physical enough often enough. If he played with more of a physical bite to his game, played a little meaner, all of those other attributes would be better. And the player I was thinking of was Hayden Fleury. If Hayden Fleury had a mean streak about him, he'd be a top 4 NHL defenseman. He's huge. He's a really good skater. He's not super fast, but he's a good skater. He's got a pretty good shot. But he's a nice guy, and he plays like a nice guy. You got to be really good to get to get away with playing like a nice guy in the NHL. And I think if Kotkaniemi could play a little meaner, I'll draw another comparison. I remember when Elias Lindholm was coming up through the Hurricanes, and he was really nice. I loved Elias Lindholm. Couldn't figure out why he wasn't effective as a player. And I once asked Rod Brindamore about him. He goes, look, he's not going to get any worse than he is. This is before he finally kicked on. Not going to get any worse because he's a super smart player. And then, all of a sudden, for whatever reason, Lindholm started playing with a little bit of an edge. I'm like, wait a second, this Elias Lindholm's good. Of course, the Hurricanes traded him. I'm not knocking the trade, whatever it is. But he became better when he started playing with an edge. If Jesperi Kotkaniemi could figure out how to play with an edge on a regular basis, he'd be a more effective player. All right, now, Hurricanes are going to need Jesperi Kotkaniemi to play a much bigger role now. Much like we said with Martin Necas, that here's a guy that craved responsibility. Jesperi Kotkaniemi is about to get it. Because Rod Brindamore said after the game that he thinks that the Jack Drury thing is going to be quite a bit of time. Now, I know he left the ice after blocking a shot. It looked like he blocked it with his ribs. Not sure. But they said upper body. And if Drury is out for an extended period of time, looks like Jesperi's old job is open, centering a line that more than likely will have Martin Necas and Eric Robinson on it. I think those two guys have had very good chemistry. And now we'll see if Kotkaniemi can, on a consistent basis, play with some physicality. Not a lot is going to be asked of Jesperi playing with Necas. Forget about playing between Necas and Eric Robinson. We don't need to make Eric Robinson any more than he is, who can be an effective player when he's using his speed and plays with a little bit of physicality as well. But this is the opportunity for KK to play 15, 16 minutes a night. Not that Drury was playing anything close to that, but I think Kotkaniemi is more physically built for that. By the way, if in fact Drury is going to be out for an extended period of time, it's probably going to give Ryan Suzuki a chance. I know how much fans love the prospects. Suzuki has had a kind of a breakthrough season in the American Hockey League. And here's a guy who was a first-round pick a long time ago, it seems now, doesn't it? 5 years ago? Had the eye injury. Basically has like a blind spot in the middle of his eye, but has really become a very solid player for the Chicago Wolves. My guess is we're going to see Ryan Suzuki come up, probably not ideally suited for a fourth line, but might as well give him a chance, right? If it doesn't work, you've got other players who play center down in the minor leagues that you could bring up. I don't think we're going to see Felix Ungersorum here. I think we are going to see Ryan Suzuki if Jack Drury has to go on injured reserve for any extended period of time. They certainly need a center. Of course, theoretically, they could put Martin Necas at center. I just don't think Rod Brindamore is going to do that right now. not the way Necas has been playing as a wing. So I thought there was a lot to there's an opportunity there for Suzuki if Carolina wants to go that route. And again, I think a lot of Hurricanes fans would love to see it. I do not think that they will call up. You got to have a center. And I think Suzuki is probably the best choice for that. Now, I don't know if Rod would do it because I don't know that he's played well enough to warrant it. But Skylar Brindamore is a fourth-line center, although he's not necessarily the Wolves' fourth-line center, but that's basically his ceiling as an NHL player is as a fourth-line center. But I think they'll take the opportunity to give Ryan Suzuki a whirl in the National Hockey League. I think that would be cool to see. All right, let's try to run through a couple of other things here on the Canes Corner podcast. And again, I thank you very much for hanging out with us. For those people who don't know, Jack Drury got hurt in the first period, did not come back, and the Hurricanes covered. There's a lot of double shifting from Aho and Jordan Staal. Again, I thought their third period was dynamite. Nobody played well, really, in the first two periods, maybe with the exception of Staal and Martinook, but I'm not even sure anybody would consider anybody having played well the way I thought San Jose dictated the game. Hurricanes getting 3 5-on-5 goals, all from defensemen. Let me talk about Brent Burns real quick. Burns, I know people expect offensive numbers from Brent Burns. I expect those numbers. The head coach expects those numbers. Brent Burns expects to be offensively productive. 27 games, basically a third of the season. Burns had 7 points, 1 goal, 6 assists. He had one fewer point than Jacob Slavin did. And up until the last handful of games, I've been very bullish on the way he's played. I think Brent Burns has played really, for the most part, very well. It's just different than what we're used to seeing from Brent Burns. We're used to seeing the offense and the goals and the power play stuff. We're used to seeing all that. We haven't seen it. But I think what we have seen for the most part, again, until the last handful of games, is a guy who's playing very well defensively. Shockingly well defensively. He went through a little bit of a lull. I think it might even go back to the game after Thanksgiving. But tonight, I thought he was absolutely outstanding tonight. He had 3 shots on goal, 7 overall attempts. He had a hit, a takeaway. He had 5 blocked shots tonight. And I think Burns and Slavin tonight were the keys to Carolina's penalty kill. And I think the Canes went 3 for 3 on the kill. They went 0 for 4 on the power play. Of course, one of the power plays each way was abbreviated. Andrei Svechnikov took I guess it was a hooking penalty. 40 seconds into Carolina's power play, there was a bunch of 4-on-4 time in the middle of it. So those 2 kills were kind of easy for each side. Hurricanes weren't great on the power play tonight, but I think you'll trade it to get some 5-on-5 momentum. But Burns has been, I think, an outstanding penalty killer for Carolina. And again, I think he's been very good defensively, and it was good to see him get on the score sheet. And maybe Carolina will get his offense cranked up. And I want to talk about a couple of things that are kind of not positive, because the first 40 minutes of this game were not positive. First 6 or 7 minutes, I thought Carolina was excellent. They take the lead through Shayne Gostisbehere. This was a really good play by Jack Roslovic, who I think is also, other than his goals, and I'm not knocking the 13 goals that he scored, I don't think has played very well the last 3 or 4 weeks. But he makes a very good play inside the blue line to buy time. Then he gets the puck in deep. William Carey gets it, and he's carrying it back up from behind, from like goal line extended, And here comes Shayne Gostisbehere right down the slot. Carrier gives him a beautiful pass, and Gostisbehere doesn't waste the opportunity. His 6th goal of the year made it 1-0. And then Luke Kunin scores twice. And I want to go through those 2 goals because I think there is some significance there. I mentioned the first one before when Kunin made it 1-1 late on in the first half, and that Carolina had opportunities physically to eliminate the play and didn't even offer. First from Carrier, and again, he might have been beyond the play, so maybe he didn't really have a good shot. But Kotkaniemi absolutely did and didn't take it. This is my frustration, and I think the head coach's frustration with him is that you got this big body, man. You got to use it. You can get more out of yourself, and you'll get more opportunity if you play a certain way. And, I mean, to me, that's on Kotkaniemi. But he's not the only player like this, right? There's a lot of players around the league that don't play as physical as they probably should. Hey, Marty Necas can play a little bit more physical at times. I think he's trying to, and I think he has gotten a little bit better in that regard. I guess maybe we shouldn't hold everybody to the Seth Jarvis standard because Jarvis plays more physical than he should play. He had 4 hits tonight. Seth, who's probably being held together with twine and chewing gum, is still throwing his body around at 5'10", $185. That kid is amazing. Again, that the third line, third period, I think it was Jarvis, Aho, and Robinson for the most part. I thought they played very well. They created the last goal. We'll get to that as well. The second Luke Kunin goal was another disappointment. It's a soft play by Carrier behind the net. A softer, clear attempt by Gostisbehere. Yeah, I know it hits the referee, but I'm not sure the referee felt it because it was a finesse play by Gostisbehere. Got to make harder plays in your own end. You got to be willing to take a hit to make a play, and I saw too many times tonight where Carolina was not willing to take that hit. Gostisbehere and Walker were on the ice for both goals by San Jose tonight, and I thought really they were culpable on both, even though they had help. They were not the only ones culpable, but they shared the blame especially for that goal. And while the first goal, if you want to give Kochetkov a pass because the shot was blocked and then he had to reset and his stick was out wide rather than being in front, so it goes 5-hole. You can't give him a pass on the second goal because the puck, it actually, trying to remember the play, was Eklund who had the puck behind the net and he passed it back to Kunin. But this is where, I know it's not easy, but if you're Kochetkov, you have to be aware that the puck hasn't already come to the other side. You have to be ready to cover both sides. And Kochetkov had already moved on from his near post, and that's where Kunin stuffed it in. It's even a second attempt when Kunin stuffed it in. So the goaltending has not been great. With that said, I thought Kochetkov was good in the third period when he had to be. The Hurricanes needed a good period from him. You start the period down 2-1. Now, he was bored for the most part in the frame, but you start the period down 2-1, you cannot allow another goal. And for whatever business he had to deal with in the period, which again was not a lot, he was outstanding. So again, maybe this will get him going because right now, Hurricanes goaltending is not in a good spot. I'm not saying they don't want to use Dustin Tokarski. I think they will. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if he played. Now, he won't play Friday against Ottawa. Wouldn't be surprised if he played Sunday against, the Islanders? Or is it Columbus? I wouldn't be surprised if he played on the Sunday game. It's a little bit of an earlier start, I believe. So, won't play Friday against Ottawa, but that'll be a Kochetkov event. I'm positive of it. But, man, I've been saying this for a while. when they figured out that Freddie was going to be out for a long time, I really think that they needed to go get a goaltender. I really do. I really think they needed to. I think they need to go get a goaltender. Need an NHL goalie. Spencer Martin and Dustin Tokarski. They're not. You can't have them on your NHL roster for 2.5 months. I just don't think you can. But I don't know. They're going to roll the dice with it. I think it's a risk. It's a big risk. It wouldn't be as big a risk if Kochetkov were more consistent. Maybe if Kochetkov can find some consistency, if he can play in the third like he played in the third period, if he could play like that for 3 periods, there was nothing spectacular in the third period. He was just steady. He was just solid. It's all he's got to be. Right. This team doesn't need you to be much more than solid. They don't. If they do their job, all you got to do is stop the ones you're supposed to stop. Maybe get one of the ones that you're probably not. And by the way, those aren't the ones that have given him the problems. He's better than average among NHL starting goaltenders, stopping high danger chances. I mean, statistically speaking, this year he's ahead of Igor Shesterkin. He's right there with Connor Hellebuck, 2 of the best goalies on earth in terms of dealing with high danger chances. It's like the mid-danger chances that are just like the normal scoring chances that are getting in. Those are the kind of stuff, that's the kind of stuff that can't happen. That there's that old adage we keep up. You're only as good as the goals you allow, and he's allowed a lot of soft goals. Didn't like the second goal for sure. Didn't love the first one, but I think it's more understandable than the second one. They need more. They need more from him, but that third period, do that. Do that for 3 periods on Friday against the Senators. All right? If you can do that, I think Carolina has something there. All right. I know there's a lot of people worried about the way this team is played. And I've brought up a couple of things, over whether it's during the day job or whether it's on Twitter, whatever it is, or Blue Sky. Hey, I mean, why not? You should come over to Blue Sky. We have a good time at Blue Sky at Adam Gold on Blue Sky. Gostisbehere and Walker have been bad. Flat out bad. They weren't good tonight. I know Gostisbehere got the goal, but they weren't good tonight. That pair needs to be better. And I think the problem is you have 2 offensive-minded players. And maybe it's just taking Sean a little bit longer. But honestly, I think it's been shared mistakes. And I actually think a lot of the mistakes have been physical ones, not necessarily decision-making. I think they've been sort of physical, just like not being able to be stronger with the puck, clear the zone when the opportunity presents it. If they can get a little bit better in that regard, I don't know, maybe you can't, but if they can get a little bit better there, I think they'll be okay. They're really good skaters, and they're smart hockey players. Just got to be better and tougher when you've got the puck. Because there's no hiding. I mean, especially on the road, they're going to get targeted, and Rod isn't going to not play them. So they just need more from that duo. And they didn't get it in the first 2 periods. Everybody was better in the third, but they need more from Gostisbehere and Walker. It was a great third period from Andrei Svechnikov today, and I know there's been a lot. I've said it. There's been a lot of stuff said about Andrei and Aho. By the way, Aho is not vintage Aho, but he has 30 points in 28 games. It's not all about points, right? There's a lot of things going on. He's only got 7 goals. That's alarming to me. You're talking about somebody who was on pace right now for 20. Yeesh. 20. The guy should score 35 every year. He's on the ice a lot. He's the number 1 power play guy. He's maybe their most creative player on the power play. I know Necas has the fancy passes, but I think Sebastian Well, he's their best player. He's the best two-way player they've got. We just need a little bit more offense. We want Seth Jarvis to shoot the puck. I think it was Carolina's last power play. Jarvis has the puck in tight, and rather than just roof it over Vanacek, he's trying to make a, between through legs, cross crease pass to Svechnikov. It has no chance. Come on, Seth, shoot the puck. That's what we'd like. But in fairness to the Hurricanes, they overcame themselves for 2 periods, and they won a game they had to have. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, lesser teams would have, no. You can lose to anybody in the NHL. The Seattle Kraken aren't amazing. Kraken came here and outplayed Carolina, won it 4-3. So this was a very, very important game for the Hurricanes. And now they got another one coming up on Friday that they got to figure out a way to win. And I will say this. For 40 minutes, you do that on Friday against the Senators, you're going to get buried. At some point, the Senators are going to figure this out. They've got too many good players. Too many good players. So, but they, look, we'll take 2 points and run with it. I just want to make sure that I didn't forget anything. No, I think we covered it all. So let's all agree we want Kochetkov to take that going forward. Take the third period into Friday night. Real quick about the lines. I do think that what we saw today, I don't think we'll see on Friday. I think, especially without Jack Drury, I think we are going to see a much different looking, well, not a much different. We're going to see an older, we're used to seeing this. We're used to this trio. We're used to Aho, Jarvis, maybe Roslovic, right? We're used to Kotkaniemi, Necas, Robinson. We're used to Staal, Martinook, Carrier. And then the third pair, Svechnikov's going to have to be somewhere. Maybe it'll be Svechnikov with Kotkaniemi and Necas, and we'll see Suzuki, Robinson, and Blake on a fourth line. Let them go. Let Eric Robinson do some heavy lifting, and let's see if the kid, if the latest kid can come up and make an impact on this team. All right, we are through with this. This has been the Canes Corner podcast. I am Adam Gold. Thank you very much for spending some time with us. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. As always, you can find it, if it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at aluminumcompany.com. All right, we'll do this again on Friday after the Ottawa Senators come to Lenovo Center, the big think pad, if you will. And until, I am Adam, and we will see you next time.